Yo, guys, what's going on? LuckyRave is back again to give you guys another live stream discussion slash review. This time it's going to be on Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest. And wow, first and foremost, I've been behind by a few chapters. Thankfully. I mean, listen, I must tell you this right now. I had a debate. And I know this week's been a little off because I did mention that, yeah, I'd be tackling a few different streams here and there throughout the week. But obviously, when you're dealing with work, like there's a lot of factors that come into play. And you're kind of just like, oh, like, gotta happen. It's gotta happen right now of all times. But you know what? That's fine because other day, took care of Dead Rock. Today, I decided let's take care of Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest for the manga, and then for tomorrow, and I will 100% be honest with you guys here. The anime discussion for 100 Years Quest will definitely be happening tomorrow. So tonight will be the manga discussion for 100 Years Quest, and then tomorrow will be the anime discussion for the last 3 episodes, which is going to be really interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting to discuss those things. But first and foremost, the last time we left off with 100 Years Quest, and this is where I'm going to segue into where we were at. So we left off with, at least when I talked about 100 Years Quest, it was with chapter 173. So 173, for those of you that know, it ended with Wendy getting to, Diablos, and her seeing everyone in the condition that they were in. And we all kind of thought, okay, well, given the situation at hand, obviously this is going to lead to us getting, you know, her taking on Celine. Obviously, that was going to be a thing. But that's not the direction Hero decided to go into. So we don't cut to Wendy at all in either of these 4 chapters, actually. In fact, we start off chapter 174 right back off with Erza and Wed. Okay, so they're there. Ignia and Faris are just having a stare off contest. No jokes at all. And Ignia's just like, huh, humans have no idea how terrifying dragons really are. And dude, like everything that's happening right now, okay? Like you see the ground starting to shake, there's like wood coming out from the ground, and they're like, wait, what the hell? What's going on? This is bad. Then you have Racer saying, like, oh my god. And Cobra notices he's like saying this voice. Meredy's, I thought you beat him. Damon! Um, and to which Damon says, I thought I didn't melt him, but now we're gonna melt. And of course, you have Midnight over there saying, Father, and he's like, beats me. And Erza kind of in shock, and Ignia's just like, right. Alderaan, which this was something I kind of knew. I already kind of had a feeling. Based on the way these guys were boasting about Alderaan, I was like, there's no way. There is no way in hell we're going to off-screen Alderaan just like that. No way. These guys are all just talk. And I'm happy to note that I was right about that. I am so happy to note that, yeah, Alderaan, with the situation he was in, first of all, we didn't see him getting defeated, so that was already my first indication. Like, yeah, he's gonna come into play. Number 2, these guys are gonna act like they beat him, when in actuality, he's gonna rise back up, and shit's gonna hit the fan, pretty much. And that's exactly what happened. So Alderaan's here, Erza's noticing, Racer's trying to wonder, like, wait, what's this huge, humongous monster? And Birdie's just like, Alderaan, the wood dragon god. Yes, we did tweet him after all. Thrill, thrill. Damn it, we all got split up. So Racer's dealing with his counterpart. This our battle stage. Falcon Wing. Too slow, Birdie. Motor. And quite frankly, like that's all that's going on. You're getting like a clash between the two of them, which is really cool. I like this actually. I really really like this. Cut over to Faris, Black Wizard Faris to be specific, and also Discord got to be off. Discord got to be off right now. I got to keep Discord off for the most part. Whenever I'm doing these streams, dragons and people shouldn't underestimate the power of black magic. The 6 black demons born from my prayers. And she's saying that like as she's looking over at her hand. Then you cut over to Damon, and dude, Damon is like having her foot all over Serrano, and I'm like, wow, okay. Then you have Zero taking on his son Midnight, and Cobra dealing with his counterpart, obviously. Same thing with, Richard and Gaia. Same thing there. Then you have Meredy, okay? Now, this is the part I find interesting. So Meredy's taking on, if I remember correctly, it's gonna be a little bit before I get used to the new Oracion Seis members, right? But if I look at the characters name, okay, so who do we have here? We have Meredy. It should be Blade. I think no, Blade was the one that Cobra was dealing with. I know that much. Gate. Yeah, no, it was Gate. So Meredy's dealing with Gate, okay, and she's like, "Wait, what's this feeling? Like it's the same type of magic as Master Hades. It's creeping me out." Then you got Birdie saying, Oracion Seis use various types of black magic. We're both demons and black wizards. And Racer's just like, black magic, huh? Reminds me of the pieces of crap who built the tower. And Birdie's like, wait, what? My prayer was just to run free. But it's changed now. Now it's to run to live. And okay, first and foremost, big highlights for 174. And I'm gonna be super brief on this because there's still 3 more chapters we gotta go through. But first of all, Racer versus Birdie, pretty cool, pretty nice. Anything spectacular and like jaw dropping? I don't know if I can say that, but it was pretty cool. Pretty cool fight, definitely. Alderaan being alive is a huge mega plus. Okay, it's a huge mega plus for Alderaan to still be alive. And then, of course, the other big bit of information here. Meredy said something about Gate and having a similar type of magic to Master Hades. And if we remember about Prek had some magic, and it was like, yo, what is this, man? And like, it was a lot to deal with when it came to Hades. So if she senses something from Gate that echoes the same essence that Hades had, that's going to be troubling. That's honestly going to be really troubling. But ultimately, I think what I will say is this chapter, for the most part, pretty simple, yet effective in a lot of ways. So for that alone, I'm going to give it a great plus. It's a great plus chapter of 100 Years Quest. Now, moving on to chapter 175, the essence of wicked prayers. So again, Racer's dealing with Birdie. Thrill, I'll show you something interesting. Well, what's going on? My magic is black sky magic, and Racer gets jumped straight up, okay? He gets jumped like it's no tomorrow. Fall into a dark sky for a tweedle while. And he's like, what the heck? I can't see. And then, of course, you got the same thing happening with Serrano trying to, like, get a hand and trying to get up on her feet, what she's able to do. And Damon's like, oh, you don't want me to step on you anymore? I have demonic black magic. And Serrano's just like, oh, people used to call me Angel, Huh, a demon and an angel, huh? Interesting that can melt. Angelic feathers, what Serrano does. And Then you have Damon thing. Six shields, acid rule. Like she pulls out a card, right? And you see what happens. My magic. And basically what ends up happening is she kind of manipulates the same, not similar types of magic that our pony uses. And in this case, she manipulated the kind of magic that Serrano used and kind of backfired on her. Now, obviously, yes, there is the the shot, the bit of fan service, if you will. It's only just a one shot, though. I mean, cool, no big deal. We move on. And Damon's is getting a field day. Okay, she's like, melt away and die. To which you got Blade, you got Eric saying, what's with this guy? I can't hear his voice. And Blade's like, my magic is black slashing magic. Wait, my magic is black slashing magic. Its attacks are soundless. Huh? And then he starts hearing something like, wait a second. I can hear that now. Oh, I went person, you dodged it. And, Eric going in for the attack. Poison Dragon Scale thing. It's breaking through. Is it, what? My blade cuts down my enemies without making a sound. And you see with what it's able to do to Eric, and that's something, all right. Well, when did you depend too much on sound, boy? Cut over to Midnight and Zero, father and son over here. After all your bragging, that's the best you can do, Midnight. He's got even more power now than when he first became Zero. Did the black magic amplify his power? Cut over to actually no, he's not cutting over. We're still in the same fight. Spiral Pain. And Zero's like, pain won't work on me. Dark Rondo. And as that attack, he uses that against Midnight. Midnight's in a bind, obviously. And Zero's like, pathetic. Is this how a former member of the Oracion Seis should be? Midnight? My name is Macbeth, Zero. Shatter to bits. I'll destroy you. You're just a ghost from my past. Ugh. So powerful. And as Midnight is getting in midst of all that attack, right? A shining beacon of hope shows up. And who is the shining beacon of hope? It is none other than Natsu Dragneel. Natsu Dragneel is here. Also, hey, Lox's Renji, how's it going? It's great to see you here. Yeah, he shows up, shocking Midnight, shocking Zero, and he's like, Natsu, I was headed to find Ignia, but I spotted Aldron and all your familiar faces here. What's going on? And dude, Zero's getting a mad field there. Okay? He's like, Fairy Tale, Natsu Dragneel. That's kind of where we end the chapter. That's kind of where we end chapter 175. And look, honestly, 175, much like with 174, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You don't get too much about what exactly. Actually, you don't get anything when it comes to what Meredy thought of with Gate. In fact, I think that's the only bit of Meredy you get in these stretch of 4 chapters. So, what I will say, again, I do like that Birdie didn't get taken out. I do like that. So, it goes to show you that Racer's going to have a little bit of a tough time. And much like with Racer, same thing's happening with Serrano. She is doing everything she can against Damon. Damon, yeah. She's trying everything she can against her. But ultimately, it's kind of backfiring on her. And she's kind of thinking, well, dang, what other strategies can I come up with in order to, supersede, to be successful and winning this fight? And look, right now, she's in a tough bind. And the same thing can be kind of said for Cobra. Cobra's kind of in a bind against Blade. Says so much. And to be fair, Midnight was in a similar situation here against a Zero. He was in a much similar situation. And then Natsu showed up at the end. So that's interesting. That is actually pretty interesting to see that Natsu's here. And quite frankly, looking at this chapter, rating wise and everything, did we get much on plot progression? Not necessarily, but from a battle standpoint, from an engagement standpoint, I think that's where this chapter really shines. You get a lot on the combat aspects, a lot on the struggles from the Oracion Seis, which I do like. And then, of course, having Natsu show up at the very end, really cool, really badass. So, I would say this chapter, if last chapter was Great Plus, this one I would at least just give it a great. It's a great chapter of 100 Years Quest. Which now brings us forward into chapter 176, Shattering Hope. With a fancy cover page, by the way, of Richard. And who do you notice here in the corner? You have Natsu and Lucy. And what I find so amusing about this, actually, wow, I'm just noticing that, actually, too. She's like pushing Natsu onto the train. Because even though he's dealing with motion sickness, okay, even with that aside, they still got to get to somewhere, right? So it's obviously a thing. Also find it funny that Hot Eye is the chief conductor. That is pretty funny. That's it. Natsu's there. Midnight trying to catch his breath. Zero's there too. Midnight's still in shock of like, wait, Natsu. And he's like, fairy tale. Up to no good again, you guys? And Happy's like, wait, Master Zero and Midnight? Alderaan was revived too? And then you have Fortune over here saying, Alderaan was our faulty. We revived the 5 dragon gods to create a world of all dragons. But I know that was wrong, Nowie. And Midnight just tells Natsu, like, hey, Natsu, like, please get out of the way. This is my fight. And as that whole thing's going down, right, like, Natsu's just, like, trying to listen. And Zero surprise attacks Natsu, okay? Happy calls out Natsu, and Zero's like, I've been waiting for this moment. Then you cut over to Dromio, okay? Erza's dealing with Wed. Got this whole confrontation going on. Sword for sword, blade to blade. And Wed is like, oh, you grazed me. Cut back over to Natsu, and he's like, when someone picks a fight with you, you gotta take him up on it. That's the fairy tale way. Very classic, right? It's a very classic thing for Natsu. Very classic, to say the least. Alright, Natsu, I've been reborn. I'll show you my new power. History will come to an end before my eyes. This is the start of a new era of nothingness. Open. Portal of the Demon's Well. And Natsu's like thinking, like, wait, this magic. Zero, I said Zero. Genesis Zero. I mean, same words, just inverse of one another. If you know what I mean. I beat this magic before, and Zero's like, don't expect it to be as weak as it was back then. Full magic release. Dragon Slayer secret technique. I'm gonna butcher the way I'm not just saying this, but it's Shiranugata. Yeah, I'm gonna say it like that. Shiranugata. There we go. Blaze of Fire Phoenix Sword. Real cool. But again, this whole shot right here, okay, with Natsu going in for the attack, and you have like the little like fire works going off. Cool. Dark Rondo, Dark Caprice. Wait, yeah, Dark Capricia. He cast another magic spell while he was doing the first one. 2 at the same time. This is between Happy and Fortune. And Natsu is shocked as Zero says, "Be gone, Natsu Dragneel." That goes down. Midnight, again, still in shock. Happy screaming Natsu. And Natsu dude, is like, I kid you not. When I saw this part for like a good minute, I thought to myself, damn, dude, Natsu got taken out. Like, you know what this reminded me of? This straight up reminded me of when Natsu was like taken out like in an instant by Silver. That's what this kind of reminded me of. Although in this case, Natsu didn't get like, taken out like off the gate, you know, like he did in Tartarus. Natsu kind of put up a bit of a fight against Zero. And I was just like, damn, okay. Like, again, happy, in distress, fortune in distress. Zero is just like, yes, I did it! I took him out! But then there's something to realize, something to note here. Very much like with Tartarus. A very similar situation, right? And what ends up happening? Midnight steps him and gut punches him. Straight up gut punches him. And he's like, you let your guard down. And he's like, wait, what? It was an illusion. Nazi Drag Neil was an illusion. And he's like, wait, Nazi Drag Neil was an illusion? And Midnight specifies, no. That's not true at all. He did come here, but you're my prey. So he let me have you. Pretty much when Natsu and Midnight were having their whole exchange. For that, for that moment of time, and we're getting this here right now, of Midnight telling Natsu, like, hey, Erza and Dramiel, the Fire Dragon God, and the Black Wizard are probably there too. Let me handle Zero. And listen, this is a pretty big, like, in terms of Natsu and character growth, I would say this is a big one. This is a pretty big one for Natsu because, like, listen, if this was early Fairy Tail, like early Natsu would not give two shits. He would go in and fight. We know that for Natsu. But Hunter's Quest, and I've said this for a long time, has really, started. It's not started, but it's really showcased in a slow way a lot of growth for Natsu as a character, and for him, and for Natsu to just kind of take a step back and say, "Yo, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna tell you where Erza is. Tell you where Ignia is. I said Ignia. Ignia. Tell you where the Black Wizard is. You head there, and I'm gonna handle Zero. Like this is my own personal fight." Says a lot. It really says a lot. And Natsu just says, "You didn't even have to ask. I ain't got time for that. Wait for me, Erza, Ignia. Cut over to Dramiel, and this to me." And now I read this chapter when it first came out, okay? Which, fortunately, when this chapter came out, I was off on my little family trip. So it's one of those situations where I was like, damn it, like I wish I got a chance to read this and just do, my stream discussion. I really wish I had time for that. But obviously, a lot of things happened, and coming back from that trip, I was also trying to get back into the swing of things with work, right? So it was a balancing act of sort. That was like, okay, let me spend my first week getting back on track with work, and then just move forward from there. And that's where we are here. So this week, again, while I'm kind of like slowly building my way back up on a couple of things, we're here with a wed. And this is what I'm talking about. The mask shatters. Erza notices, and he's like, wait, you're like, and the big thing about this chapter with this cliffhanger was it got people thinking, speculating, who is wed? Like the mask is off. Like, was it Simon? Was it like someone from Erza's past that we don't know about? Like, what was it? Now, it being Simon would have been like, wait, what the hell? But then I thought about it and I was like, well, we brought back Zero. We brought back, God's Serena. I'm like, it's not too much of a stretch to bring back Simon. I would, yeah, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch. But then I'm like, well, what if it's someone else that we don't know? And that's kind of what we're led into here with chapter 177, the latest chapter, Fiery Flame Invitation, where, first of all, you got this nice, beautiful, gorgeous cover page of Erza, okay? Like, just looking at the snow just falling down. And much like with where we left off with 176, 177, we resume immediately. Erza's like, what? Wait a minute, you're Ignia? Like, almost gotten the same look and everything. And again, Erza's a bit thrown off, but Wed is going in for the attack. And he's like, my name is Wed. And I didn't even think about this, but it's actually pretty cool to see what it actually. I didn't even realize that it stood for something, but we kind of get the explanation here. Warm Earth Dragon. And Urza's like, wait, warm? Yes, warm, not hot, because I'm not a real dragon. I was born to my father and a human. I couldn't be a human or a dragon. Don't tell me. Your father is. Wait, are you Ignia's son? I can finally be a dragon now. Thanks to the world of dragons that my father preached, humans have begun turning into dragons, including me. Well, why do you want to be a dragon? That's what Erza asks Wed. And Wed's like, I'm the son of Ignia, the fire dragon god. I cannot stand to be human. I find that hard to believe. Didn't you say that you wanted to settle things with me back when you were still human? And because he remembers the confrontation that she had with Wed earlier on. And Wed goes on to say, well, yeah, I did. And I wish I could have. Don't you see? Now that I've been dragonized, you're really no match for me. As he lets out an extremely powerful attack, the extreme fire dragon scale sword, towards Erza. But again, what I love about 100 Years Quest is the fights Erza has, she's struggling. Erza is straight up struggling in these fights, and I love it. I love the fact that we're seeing Erza struggle. It's great. But anyway, we continue to move forward with the chapter. Where was I with this? Oh yeah. So this happens. The attack goes through. Got a huge blow, by the way. Huge freaking blow that happens here. And Erza is like, pushed back. And Wed says, a fairy can never beat a dragon. Right, Dad? He looks up. Ignia's like smiling, like, that's my boy. And then he looks over to Faris. And he's like, all right, first of all, girl, how long are we gonna keep the stare off going, huh? Like, Wed behind the ears, Black Wizard, and Faris just goes on to say, I'm a black wizard and a black dragon. I have the power of both Seraph and Agnologia. Fire dragon, do you truly think you can beat infinite darkness? And here's the thing. Ignia's doing what Ignia normally does, right? Like, he kind of brushes that off and goes on to say, like, well, I doubt I'm going to lose. Then something happens, okay? Something clicks with Ignia. and he senses something. And he's like, wait, this feeling, something does not seem right at all. I'm going to deal with you later. And Faris just asks, wait, you're running away? Fire Dragon God? Then all of a sudden, this chick shows up, okay? And, Faris looks over and she's like, I will see to you. I am the leader of the Fire Dragon God Squad. Fire and Flame. Bestia. And what Bestia does is she, conjures up a sort of magic, if you will, teleportation magic, which is what Faris points out. And Bestia says, yes, it would cause quite some trouble. It would cause quite some trouble if I were to use my magic in a place like this. And Faris is like, oh, how intriguing. As I just teleport away, right? And Natsu's getting super close to Tramil. And he's like, I see it now. Tramil. And as it's going down, Natsu notices, Happy notices, Misfortune notices this. And it's Ignia. And Happy's just like, Natsu, it's Ignia. Yeah. And Misfortune's like, wait, Ignia-sama. And at first, Natsu's like, yo, he's here. I'm going to take him on right here, right now. What does Ignia do? He brushes past Natsu. Like that. And it throws Natsu off. Like, wait, what? He ignored us. And the last panel ends off with Ignia saying this. This power, could it be? And I have to wonder, what is it? That's my question. What is it? What was it about Ignia at the tail end of this chapter? Where, like, at first he was so boisterous. Like, he was so damn mad cocky to Faris. All of a sudden, something goes off, and he's just like, wait, hold up. I'm not liking this sensation. I'm going to head that direction. And at first, you would think, maybe it's Natsu. Maybe. But then we see him get to Natsu, and he brushes past him. So it's got to be something else. It's really got to be something else. And, I mean, I would say I would have a discussion video on this plan, but, I mean, if I remember correctly, I think the next chapter comes out. I think it comes out this upcoming week, right? Let me double check. Look, I want to say yes, 100%. Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, so, this upcoming Tuesday, we should be getting the next chapter, and oh my god, just thinking about it, like, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really, really interesting to see what exactly got Ignia's attention. Like, for him to brush past Natsu obviously means it's a much bigger deal. So, kind of wonder, which character is it? I really, really gotta wonder, which character is it that threw Ignia so far off that he had to brush past Natsu? Like, that to me is super fascinating. Also, the whole ordeal about Ignia having a son and that being wed. You know what that's reminding me of? That is straight up reminding me of Zeref in a lot of ways. And look, we have known that, yeah, Ignia and Zeref, there are a few parallels here and there. Not necessarily in terms of their power per se, because obviously Ignia is a fire dragon. He's going to have fire abilities. But if you look at it, Zeref was related to Natsu. Ignia indirectly is related to Natsu, because Ignia is the true son of Ignia, thus making him and Natsu like stepbrothers, if you will. So you still kind of got a bit of like a familial tie to it. But keep in mind about this. What happened in Fairy Tail? Zareth had a son, okay? Initially revealed to be Arcade, before he came to find out that it was actually August. So, I got two questions on that. First of all, who did Ignia end up with? That's my question. Who did Ignia end up with? That is my first question right there. Who did Ignia get with to have wed? Who? I mean, it could be entirely possible just to say, yo, maybe Wed was a test tube babe. Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe Wed was an experiment that Ignia did, and it's not like he's actually Ignia's son. He could kind of be like on the cases of Arcade, where not necessarily, biologically. I say biological, but you know what I mean. Like not organically created. If he is organically created, though, I really am curious who Ignia ended up with. I really am. But no, it's fascinating. It really is like super fascinating to see where we are with Hondir's Quest. This whole situation with Ignia, what caught his attention, him breezing past Natsu, the whole situation with the Oracion Seis and the Oracion Seis, that there's a lot to be said about that too. And ultimately, with 177, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is an amazing chapter. An amazing chapter of Hondir's Quest. I can't wait. Honestly, cannot wait to see with what we get with 100 Years Quest, chapter 178, and that will probably hit up on Tuesday. So when that chapter comes out, now I won't be able to tackle the chapter when it first drops, like the hour of, but I'll be able to tackle it the stream after I get off from work. So I'll still tackle the stream. It'll just be like once I'm off from work. That's just how that's gonna go. But let's see here. Out of these 4 chapters, if I'm looking at it, 174 was a great plus. 75 was great. Then you get to 176 with the last chapter, and we ended it off with the mask coming off, which was like a huge, huge ordeal. And to me, that was an amazing chapter. So you got great plus to great, and an amazing to an amazing plus. So you round those all up together, and you end up with ultimately an amazing rating overall for these 4 chapters alone. And like I said, next chapter is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really, really engaging. Really curious to know where we're gonna go. And plus, I'm talking about this with Hondir Quest, but if you want to look at this from a volume standpoint, volume 19 ends off with chapter 171. Okay, so keep that in mind. 18 ends off with 162, and then 17 ends up with 153. So if you go down by that pattern, we're already like nearly done with this volume. This volume's like nearly finished. So if I have to play my cards right, chapter 180 should be the end point of volume 20, which I still think is crazy that we're this far deep into Hondir's Quest, hitting the 20th chapter milestone for Hondir's Quest. That is nuts. And dude, if you even want to take the original series into account and add it with Hondir's Quest, that's 83. Okay, that's going to be the 83rd volume of Fairy Tail, if we're including, again, the original series. But I mean, at this point, I'm just kind of rambling on. No, this was fun. This was honestly so fun. Just, getting a chance to stay here and talk to you guys about Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest. Like I promised you, there will be a stream tomorrow regarding the 100 Years Quest anime for the last 3 episodes. Because I do have some things I want to talk about when it comes to the anime. I really do. And who knows? I might even do, like, say, an overall, like, stream discussion on, like, the anime adaptation. I might as well. I might tackle something like that. Who really knows? And if I want to, or if y'all want me to, I could even say, maybe give like my general thoughts on how I felt about the season as a whole. But we'll see. We'll see. But until then, you guys, that's pretty much all I have to say when it comes to this live stream discussion / review on Fairy Tail. I'm LuckyRave. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Fairy Tail content, Hero Mashima content, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Laters.